Alright guys, so here we go with another installment of the Kubota saga. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't got anything done. The 8200 is still sitting there. I never had a chance to go get the seal this morning. They had it in stock. I just haven't had a chance to go get over there, and it's late enough in the day. It's like, why go clear over there now? We'll just do it tomorrow. Anyway. So I'm working on... I gotta pull the starter back out of here. Put the one nut on there that I didn't put on there. It's been quite a chaotic morning. So I started off over here, one of my customers, and he's down south, the manager, but his boys are up here. And I don't know, they said that the forklift wouldn't start, and he's been hounding me for 2 or 3 days now trying to get my butt over there. He knows I'm busy, and anyhow, I made it over there, and I don't know, man. I turned the gas bottle on and went over there, and the thing started right up. Propane forklift, Nissan propane forklift. I've worked on that thing quite a bit over the years, and kind of know it pretty well by now, but I don't know. So anyways, I left there, and then I had another ranch that over there at their feedlot. I don't usually say no to them. They're really good guys. I mean, I don't usually work on stuff like that too much, but I told them yes the other day, so if I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I do it. So I followed through with my word. Anyway, I went over there. I had a John Deere 850D Gator, a little Yanmar diesel engine in it. Yeah, there's that stud in there with that damn nut that's supposed to be on there. Dipshit. I think, looking at that, I might ought to put this in a socket and stick it on there. It would probably be a wise decision, so I don't drop this sucker with my fingers back in there. Let me go find a socket. 19 millimeter. Alright, so we got a socket here. See if we can back in here. So anyway, I went over there, and it was a no start, but it kept blowing a fuse too. They had a fuse that kept blowing on them. What the hell's going on here? Same threads and everything, or? You know, better make sure it's the same thread. I think it's kind of a fine threaded. I think there's a bolt right here I haven't tightened up yet. I think it should be the same thread as this. Just make sure I'm grabbing the right thing here. It's not really wanting to start on there. Yeah, it's going. It's just a little stiff. Anyway, I got over there and finally figured out what it was. It was a John Deere 850D, Yanmar in it. And looked at the, first thing, looked at the fuse panel in it and figured out what's going on with that. Why is it blowing that fuse? So, didn't have a book on it, so I found it on Trade Bit for $20, $30. So I downloaded it and got to looking at it and found that fuse went right to the glow plug control module. So then I found where the glow plug control module was located in the book, and it was down there in the battery box under the passenger side seat. And so I couldn't find anything wrong with the wiring between there and the module. So I thought, well, hell, let's put another fuse in it. So I put another fuse in it, and it never would blow that fuse again, but it never would latch. That module's kind of weird. If you look at if you look at the relay setup on it, well, if you look at the wiring diagram, it's almost set up just like a relay. It had constant power, which was the wire 205. Then it had, you know, the output wire going to the glow plugs was the white wire. Then it had a signal from the ignition, and then it had, the one that was kind of weird. It had a thermal switch for the coolant temp thermal switch, and that ran over, and on the end of that module it said timer. And then you follow that thermal switch down there, and it said that it was switched power. Well, I had switched power with the key on, and then I think once the thermal switch gets hot enough, it grounds that and shuts the timer. I don't know how that works really, but anyway, I had switched power, and every time you turned the key on, I had signal power from the ignition, I had constant power from the fuse, and then I had a ground to the module. And I could hear the relay clicking, but there was no power coming out of the white wire going to the glow plug. So I just put a jumper wire between the hot and the power out, and the thing started right up. And I said, well, it's got to be that module. Something goofy with it. The internal contacts are burning it, because you could turn the key off and just put power to the yellow wire in the middle, the little yellow wire, which was the signal from the ignition, and you could make it click every time, you know. And I said, it's clicking, but it's not putting anything out. So anyways, that was a little bit of an adventure. I got one of those ordered. Then I had a hay truck that, well, Dave said he was derated. 40% is what his dash said. And went up there, and it had a, by the time I got to his truck though, he lives right up the hill here. And anyways, by the time I got there, he's got a Cummins ISX CM32050 in it, and I got up there and it had a 3569 code in it, and I kept looking at that, and it was inactive when I got there. He had cycled the key, is what he did, and well, cycling the key really didn't have anything to do with it. That 3569 code is, with the DEF system, is got something to do with power and ground, or the signal going to the dosing unit, the pump and all that stuff back there, with the sender unit and all that stuff in it. So on that particular truck, you've got the Cummins responsibility is everything in the DEF tank right there. And then you got what they call the OEM harness, and so then that Cummins tank harness is going to plug into the OEM harness. And then the tank harness goes all the way down the frame rail and then plugs into the fuse panel, and there's your doser unit relay and your line heater relays and all that shit in there. So we put it into an SCR test mode in the ECM, and while it was doing that, we wiggled wires, cut zip ties loose on the frame rail, pulled the wiring out, wiggled plugs. Never could make it come back. He said that it did that a week ago, I think it was, down there. And some shop down there said, oh, you got a bad dosing unit. So they put a whole brand new dosing unit and pump assembly in that thing. Those are not very cheap. I don't remember exactly the dollar figure on them, but they're not cheap. So they were parts changers, and didn't fix nothing. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't really fix anything. I never could get it to throw the code. I pulled the harness clear off the frame rail, looking at all the insulation. I found a couple spots that were kind of suspect, so I cut it open with my pocket knife and opened it up and looked at the wires. And I told Dave, I said, this is going to be one of those sons of bitches that's got a wire that's been kinked or folded over around the frame rail, and then that wire is worked back and forth inside the insulation and broke loose, and it's just got enough, you know, to where it's making contact, but every once in a while it'll lose contact and it'll throw code, you know. I said, it's just a pain in the ass, these kind of deals are. So anyways, he went over to Tui Lake to load with it. He said, well, I'll run to Tui Lake, and he goes, I got your number. I said, you seen what I did. He goes, yeah, it's not coming back. And I said, it's one of those deals. What do you do? Okay, good times. What the hell does that go to? Oh, that's just hoping that wasn't new parts. That's the old wear sleeve off the crankshaft seal. Okay, this thing is so much damn fun, I don't know what to do. I'm just kind of working on in there. Maybe we need to go that way a touch. Just kind of working on in there like a glove. This thing here is pissing me off. Let's see what other hoses and stuff got on here. Glad most of my customers are kind of like me. I was bullshitting with old guy that drives a truck for Mr. Posey up there. We got to bullshitting about things we did in school. He was telling me about one time how he got kicked out of school. I was telling him how I got kicked out of school and got suspended, and all his boys were pretty much the same. I remember I was in biology class, and I had him laughing pretty good over this one. And Mr. Stanton, he said, we had the frogs there, and we were cutting them open there on there, dissecting them, you know, and I had my frog nearly on the table, and I had it all cut open, and he walks by there, and he looks at my frog there, and he says, Warren, what is that right there? I said, I don't know, what is it? He goes, that's the rectum of the frog. I said, hell, rectum damn near killed him. He suspended me for that. I got kicked out of school for 3 days for that. Oh, the swattiest shit we did, you know. Being a wise ass. I went a little bit too far. Get close. Getting real close. Close it hurts, huh? I think I might be able to get a bolt in there, maybe. Make sure I got nothing on this other side hanging me out. Step down. That went way too easy. Something's wrong, you know. Wait, you stupid bastard. You gotta go clear back to here, I think. that right? No, that's not right. No, I'm in the right spot. The loader frame bolts, 2 of them go there. I thought, what the hell, you're not far enough back. I gotta find the rest of the bolts, see where I put them. Okay. One of these had a stud in it, and I don't remember which one it was, but I'll have to... Maybe I'll look at the video. Me taking it apart, I don't know. I ain't worried about that right now. Might as well start that. Started the stud on the other side, so I might as well start it on this side. The longer part of the thread went in the block. Probably ought to torque these down to the spec. Don't need these coming loose. Well, let's turn loose of it and see if it goes. Ass over tea kettle, huh? I don't think it'll be that nose heavy. I don't think so. I think it takes quite a bit to rock it like that, I think. Alright. He's on there. I gotta look up the torque specs for that, then find the nut, put the stud there. I'm sitting here thinking about this thing. I'm probably gonna have to almost put the whole, son of a gun together before I can even do anything. You know, I don't think I'm gonna be able to really cheat on this thing because, you know, them steering lines are hooked, and I don't want to deadhead something and screw something up there. Technically, it shouldn't do anything you wouldn't think if the steering wheel's not moved, but knowing my luck, it'll squirt and spray oil everywhere, and I'll just like, why didn't you just do it? You know, one of those deals. I guess that's the next thing we'll do. I know one thing, that drive shaft for the full drive's going in first. Ain't gonna forget about that, and yeah, that would be a disaster, huh? Alright, so the spec's 192 to 224. So this goes in, what, 10-pound increments? Yeah. So we'll go to 220. Apparently we're already there with the impact wrench. Wonder if I ought to back them off a little bit. Probably ought to back them off. Got them too tight with that impact. Milwaukee's will tighten her up. Okay, let's cinch these down with the old torque wrench now, make sure they're right. Well, we got a little bit of information coming on this, well, we got some plan of action on this 9620 finally. John Deere wants us to, Marty called me, he's the shop manager over there. He said that Deere wants us to, and I should have done it probably when I had a part, but to be honest with you, just kind of didn't really think about it, you know. Never had that problem of, I've never had a vibration issue taking dampers out and stuff like that going on. So Marty says, all the bearings kind of where they were, and I said, yeah, they're all in order of how they came out of there. They're still in the caps. And he said, well, good. He said, wouldn't be too much trouble, would it, to throw the crank back in? I said, oh, no, I can put the crank back in it, and that's no problem. He said, well, put the crank back in it, torque it all down, you know, put the bearings back where they were. Let's check the run out on the crank, on the nose. So I got to do that. We got to throw the crank in it and do the run out and see what we come up with. And it may not be anything to do with the crank actually being out of balance, but something on the nose where the balancer goes may not be concentric, and it might be making the balancer wobble. So that's a possibility as well. We'll torque this down, and then I gotta put the fan back into it before I forget. try to start it with the fan not hooked up. I just laid the fan in the shroud because the fan was really interfering with the shroud when I took it and split it into two, you know. I was having trouble getting it out of there. Seemed like these were tighter than that when I took it apart. I got to torque the other side down. All the fun stuff. Lots and lots of wires to hook up. Battery power. I remember that went like, I think. Which one was the nut going against? It appears that this one might have went on first. Something like that. I had a 12mm in my hand a minute ago, and I must have set it down over here. We'll just keep plumbing. I gotta remember where all this other crap went. It's been a little while since I should be able to memorize these things pretty soon. I've tore enough of these damn things apart now. Put a wiring harness in the other tractor. It was like this one. So I should know where all this stuff goes, but you know me. Can't remember nothing. So, power steering stuff, where does that go? Maybe I'll get the harness on it first. I'll have to loop that around. It goes, because the majority of the wires are over here for everything. Let me get the parts that we need over there looped around. Still got to put the DPF. Maybe I'll put that DPF in there first. Not really sure what maybe I know what I'll do first. I'll get these hoses right here hooked up. Should be two of those there. Did I hook it up there or something? Feels kind of loose there. It's just the way it is. I remember sliding it back on this tube so get it off. I sure need this to go right because I got a lot of work to do. I don't need to be doing this and taking it back out because I did something wrong, but first time when you go through an engine for the first time, it sure can make a guy a little nervous. Man, I double checked everything. I'm going to be honest with you. I caught a pretty big mistake that I didn't show on camera. It was just the other day. And I was telling Luke about it there on the phone, one of the viewers, where the case half splits here, you know, and your main bearing saddles. Let me get a screwdriver while I'm talking and working at the same time and accomplishing something. Anyway, caught a pretty significant screw up and I fixed it and I'm so happy that I caught it. Side note here, these John Deere uses these aluminum hose clamps. Lube them up, they sure will go a lot easier and prevent you from stripping them out. They get dirt in them and stuff, and boy, they do not like dirt. Anyway, so I was putting this thing together, and what was I doing? Oh, I was looking for the dowels. I ordered all the dowels that went, because the other block didn't come with them, and I was having trouble getting the other ones out without marring them up real bad. So I ordered the dowels, and I had them in a box, and I was missing one. And I remembered seeing it, and I laid it back in the box because I didn't need it or something at the time, but then when I came around to the time that I needed it, I went to grab it, and I was looking for it. So I found another set of thrust bearings for the crankshaft in there. And then I said, did you forget to put the thrust bearing? Because there's 4 thrust bearings. There's 2 uppers and 2 lowers. So immediately I ceased looking for the dowel and went into the room there and started looking at the parts description on the web for Kubota for the M135GX for this engine, V6108 engine. And then I went and got the actual invoice for the parts that we did get. So I wanted to see quantities and what we ordered. For some reason, I don't know, somehow, see, there's 2 uppers. The uppers are different than the lowers. The lowers have lock tangs on them to keep the bearing from spinning as the rotation of the crankshaft. Well, the part numbers are 1 digit off. One's like a 2230 and one's like a 2240 on the last 4 digits. So, get a 12 millimeter and zip that up. Let's get an impact while we're talking and bullshitting here, and I'll just grab the 1/2 inch. I've already got it out. But anyway, I noticed that the 2240, the one with the lock tabs, was the one that I found in the box, and there was 2 of those ordered, which was right. And then I noticed that there was a quantity of 4 of the other one, the 2230 is one without the lock tangs in them. So I realized what I did. I said I put 4 of the same kind in instead of putting the ones with the lock tangs in on the lower. So I split this block again. I pulled this whole thing and rolled it back over, split the block in 2 again, and sure as shit, that's what I did. For some reason, 4 of the same kind got ordered. I don't know why. I don't know if I did it. I don't know if they did it. I'm not blaming anyone, but it was a mistake. And if 4 of the same kind wouldn't have gotten ordered, I probably would have done it right the first time. But I should have been a little bit more diligent. You know, it's just one of them deals where you gotta really pay attention. And I'm just so happy that I was looking for that dowel for that engine, because if I wouldn't have been looking for that dowel. Now this is plastic, so let's go easy here. Let's go in number 2 setting. This is the blow-by canister filter deal here. Alright. But I'm so glad that I was looking for that damn dowel, because that would have been a disaster. Hell, we may not even be out of the woods yet. Who knows? I don't know. You know, and I don't care. Talking to Luke, it doesn't matter how experienced you are. Every time, I'm a human being. I screw up. That's just part of being a human. He's got clamps on every single one of them. I was gonna say I could leave one off, and just monitor the blow-by, but I can just leave the dipstick or the fill plug out of it too. So we gotta get a pair of pliers and get these clamps on here. One here on this tube. So yeah, I rolled it back over and had to retorque all those and go through all that bullshit again, and yeah, wonderful deal. But it is what it is. At least we caught our screw up before we started it, you know. That was one thing that made me happy. I'm just glad I caught it when I did. Yeah, I think I'll throw that DPF filter on there. That ain't too bad to put on there anyway. We'll sling it on there. You almost got to put this thing. I should have grabbed a different pair of pliers than that. That's not going to work very good for those. I wanted the longer ones so I could get down in there, but I've got a pair that are long like this that have a wider tip on them. I just got to go find them. Yeah, because I need the wider tipped ones for that. of making me wonder. When I put this frame on, there was a little clay in the bolts, you know, and I was thinking, oh shit, they gotta be in a certain spot. Kind of put together on it. Well, it's over the studs on the manifold, so these are all kind of somewhat lined up. These started, then I'll turn loose of it. So this is going to be lift pump. This is all going to go down here, downstairs. If I remember right, it kind of went through here. I've already been through this once with that other tractor when I put a harness when it caught on fire last summer. That's where that grommet there goes, is in that little bracket. There's a little bracket sticking out there. And I think you gotta go like that right there. And then this will plug into the EGR valve. Well, we want it to, but is it? I don't feel right. Bend the pin over? No? Thought I bent a pin over when I plugged it in. Just didn't feel right. And this is going to be the lift pump. And then all this stuff over here. Let me get down here where you can see. Now, I'll put this on this. I'll move this block of wood over here and set that camera up right there. Put it right there. Okay, so this one back here. I remember there's a little grommet here, but we're not. Okay, so it went. That's right. It's got to go on this side of all these lines and shit back in here, I think. Let's see, there's this one. I don't remember. See, one of them went clear up here, clear back up in here. I think it might have been this. This has got to be the longer one, since it's further to get to it. We hope, anyhow. I thought there was another sensor back in there that got plugged in. Just something ain't seeming right to me about all this whole deal. Something ain't something. Oh, that's right. This is the rail pressure sensor. It goes in right here. Okay. Alrighty, I'm right. And this is the fuel control actuator. Alright, all that shit's plugged in there. Alternator's got to get wired. There should be a plug for it. I'm going to have to take my wire loose. I got there on the alternator, the power wire, and reclock it because it's right in the way of the plug-in for that. And we're going to need the signal wire for the starter. We're going to need the oil pressure switch for the idiot light. So we got to drag all that shit over here to find it. Let me go around here and see if I can find all that stuff. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? I think that's DPF stuff, I think. There's a ground here that's got to be hooked up. I remember where it gets hooked up, right in the middle there where that bolt is on that frame. Where is... I know that this long part of the harness goes all the way back around the transmission and clear back in to the right hand fender over there and gets plugged in back there. I mean, what a pain in the ass. What the hell? This is DPF stuff here. Well guys, it's about 7 p.m. I still got to put all my tools up and roll this truck home because I got a 386 Peterbilt that I got to work on in the morning. Probably going to wind up pulling the cylinder head on that Pack RMX 13. I think it's got a dead hole on it. Let's see, we got a long ways today. We didn't really work on it. Let's see here, probably maybe 3-4 hours. Well, we got most of everything here. I got this is all going to power steering. Well, this is the diff lock line. This is the vent for the front diff, or the return for this. This might be a return or something going for this diff lock. This part of the harness here goes clear up under the cab, goes all the way around the back of the transmission, and goes back around to... It goes up in here and plugs into those plug-ins right in there. And I'm going to have to put this one loader frame on there because it's a gear pump. I can't leave those capped or I'll blow the pump up if I start it. So I'm going to have to put this one loader frame on there just to start it because the valve body's on there. And then a couple fuel lines and stuff I got to get back on there. Trying to remember where the supply and return went. On that, those will go up in that little loop right there. But I had to put stuff up and head out, and hopefully I can get this. Oh, I know where this goes. This goes up to the return on the common rail pump right here. This is the return right here. That's where that goes. And then this one here goes back up around to the cooler. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around to where the supply line is. Where in the hell's it at? Where is that supply line at? Coming from the tank. Well, I'll find it tomorrow. Piss on it. I've had enough for today. Tomorrow is another day. We'll put in another 12-14 hours tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get the Peterbilt situated, and then I can head down here and jump on this, hopefully. So you never know, though. I might get all kinds of service calls. You never know.